Caner Universe, it's Caner Tip Tuesday. Today, such an important topic. It's entitled, You Have Injuries, Pick Up Your Cane and Do This. And before we jump into that, a warm welcome to all, especially if you're here for the first time. Go ahead before we forget, if you're digging the content, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so that you don't miss any future content. Avail yourself of the free resources, by far the most important one, the no-cost cane clarity call. You do that by texting CCC to the number on the screen. In less than 24 hours, we will be on a phone call with you. We schedule it to dedicate the time answering all your questions so that you get it right from the onset. Believe me, it's going to save you tons of time, funds, and frustration in trying to figure this thing out on your own. And it's not just for somebody coming new, by the way. Even if you're advanced training in another system or you're an instructor and you'd like information on how to serve others best, we are here for you. There are also Facebook groups that are open to the general public. Go ahead and request entry and they will let you right in. Look, I'm going to preface this by saying nothing that I'm sharing here with you today is to be taken as medical advice. We're not in that business. That's not what we're doing. We're sharing from our experiences. I am, by the way, a licensed healthcare professional here in Florida. I'm still active doing that once a week. I still see patients. Coming from the perspective of just practical experience on injuries, the topic of injuries. Raise your hand. If you're active, even when you're not active, there's still a way things break down. And the tendency is to say those words that we hate to hear in ACSD, four-letter word, can't do it, can't train, because look, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you, give you certain examples, a little background on me in terms of injuries. The more significant one, an Achilles tear that happened years ago out on the soccer field. And I document, it's well documented, we still have the videos of how I use the cane and the training that I did to bring that back. I bypassed the surgery. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you what I did. I strengthened, did the strengthening, and in 7 months I was back out on the field, which I believe is supernatural, but did the work, and it's just to share the potential there. I've also documented frozen shoulder, all kinds different types of shoulder injuries, and how we've done the work and been able to, here's the big ACSD word, circumvent, to work around these limitations rather than saying, oh, can't do it. And this is the reason why, and I'm going to share this with you. And if you're an instructor, you're going to benefit from this as well, hearing this. But the question that you need to ask when you have an injury is, what does the bad guy who's up to no good think about your injury, right? Do they care? Or are they only looking for soft target and opportunity, right? And so what do you do? Ask yourself, oh, I have, a broken wing. I'm confined to a chair. Okay, so what does that bad guy think? Does he care about any of this? And it's in that spirit that we take the ACSD principles and we apply them to these physical limitations and challenges, because it's unacceptable, right? And we want to be prepared. So let me give you an example. Assuming that I had, like me, you had an Achilles, anything from the waist, and you had an injury, a hip injury, the knee, the shin, and you have to sit down, right? Because I was in a cast. And so I have to transfer the weight over, and there's atrophy that happens there. You're wasting lean muscle tissue. So guess what? You may have to take it down here and have a seat. And the handling you're still going to handle here. And you can even take, the mini canes, the shorter canes, so they don't hit the floor, and practice your handling and the different strikes from there. That needs to be combined with strength training. So how do you do that? Well, if the limb, I'm going to give you one example, right? So in my case, it was the right. Okay, so all my weight is here and this is in a cast, but I can still right, do this with the rest of my body, work one side. I can still do calf raises. I wasn't ready to do that here. I can still do the calf raises on the edge. And the reason that you want to do it, and I still trained my upper body, the reason that you want to do that is because that's how the nerve system works. In other words, if this limb is injured, I'm going to continue training the rest of my body, because when that cast comes off, I'm going to have less atrophy. Now, you need to do the strength training, which I did, and I did that with band training. I chose to do that, and the rest was all training where my belly button is moving through space rather than being confined. Now, when you're injured, there's value to machines, but I'm telling you the way that I did that, right? So I used equalizers laying down on my back to do pull-ups, a variety of strengthening, and then your movement with the cane, right? You're still doing the movement with the cane. In my case, as we got better, I got on a balance board, and I still did, I had one leg up, and I still did the handling with both canes, so on and so forth. It's an example of how you're going to do it. Now, I'm not telling you that you come to ACSD and you're going to jump right into that. The most important thing is to speak to your coach. He's going to take a look at it because he is trained to say, hey, given your starting point, where you're at, that's where we're going to meet you. So if you're sitting down, we're going to meet you there. Now, here's another concept that's very important. Where you find yourself today with an injury is not going to be the same place 6 weeks later, 12 weeks later, and so on and so forth, moving forward. In other words, it should be progressive. It should be progressive, either with the rest of your body, your functionality, all these things with training. So to sit there and nurture that and say, oh, I have a broken wing, I just can't do it, I'm never going to, that, you're speaking, there's a lack of hope and faith in that. And ACSD is the opposite of that. Okay, so we're going to find ways to train, work around it without aggravating and making it worse. What about the shoulder injuries? I showed you how we would take that cane on that shoulder. I couldn't do this, but I could take it along for the ride with the other hand and start little by little. Why? Because I want to pump that with circulation. I want to increase the circulation in the lymphatic system there, because I know that lack of mobility is not going to get the nutrients and the oxygenation there. And little by little, see how it keeps going. This is just going along for the ride. And I'm bringing this up, and a variety of exercises that we did little by little. I mean, it's not designed to be a picnic, obviously, and you feel it, but it's not that sharp pain where you're making matters worse. There's a significant difference there. And you would obviously talk to your healthcare professional about doing this, but I'm showing you how it is possible to continue to train with this tool and make progress in it. So there's a way to do it. Look, if I can, I'm going to use Coach Ron, who's the gatekeeper over at the Foundational Training, the leader, the Cane at Home 6-week challenge. I know a bunch of you watching are there, so congratulations, welcome aboard. You're doing that with Coach Ron right now. You may notice that Coach Ron has a sling he had shoulder surgery on his right shoulder. He taught 134, and I believe still in 135 with that shoulder sling, and he did everything, taught the whole thing with his left side. Why? Because ACSD caners cannot afford to have a weak side. And so that's part of the brain training. Whatever you do to one side, you do it to the other side. So if I do this, I go here as well, because I need to be well versed with both. I can't afford. That way, when an injury comes up, that's how you do it. And the concept of contralateral training works like a charm there as well. And again, that is, look, it's real simple without getting super technical. This limb is the problem. Train the rest of your body, top and bottom, as a whole unit. That's how it works best with the nerve system. And so if nothing else, what this segment should encourage you to do is to seek out the information, have a conversation. And believe me, if it's something that we've never seen before in 30 years of doing this, we've never seen it before, we're simply we're going to tell you. We're going to tell you. And for those that are wondering, can I get started with this? Let me give you, if you can take the foundational training, if you can take a step forward, take a step back, one to the side, and one of your limbs, one of your arms is functional, you can do the training. And even if you have to be seated, reach out, let's have a conversation, find out what you can and cannot do, okay? But there is hope, and you don't have to, be a victim and, for the rest of your life and say, oh, no. This is so much more than a crutch. It's going to go from being a crutch to being the most amazing tool of empowerment, but you need the training. And it all starts with that by texting CCC to the number on the screen. Let's have a conversation and let's meet you where you're at. And again, we're always looking to make it progressive. All right. So let me know where you're at, and I'll see you on the next video.